Okay, so this is my design. The first thing that I want to do is draw registration marks at the top of it. And then I want to make sure that these are aligned properly by aligning in the middle and spacing horizontally. Now I'll take my whole design, group it together, and then I'm going to copy it and paste it 5 times because I have 5 different layers. I'll just move these out of the way until I'm ready for them. So my first layer is going to be the blue layer. I'm going to ungroup, and then I'm going to unselect the boxes and the blue layer and delete the rest. So that'll be my first layer. My next layer will be white. So I'll select the whole thing, ungroup, unselect these boxes and the white layer, and then delete the rest. The next layer will be the black layer. And since I don't want to go and unselect all of these stars and lines, I'm going to unselect, let's see, the white and the blue and the red and the blue, and delete. That didn't work. So let's see. So I'll just unselect the whole thing and delete black, white, red, and blue. Okay, so that's my next thing. And I want to go ahead and group these back together with their boxes. And then we'll do the same thing with the red stripe and the blue stripe. Group it back together. And then the last one will be this blue stripe. And group that back together. So now whenever I go to cut it, I'll have the blue layer, the white layer, the black layer, and then the red stripe and the blue stripe. So now that I have all the layers separated, I want to go ahead and arrange the layers on the mat to cut. I'm going to cut the black layer individually because I'll have to slow down the speed quite a bit for all of the stars. So I'm going to have the blue, the red, and the white layers. To make this fit better, I'm just going to rotate it like that. Make sure it's all on the mat. And then if you show the grid, you'll be able to count the squares. It's just like your mat. So however many squares you need for blue, you'll put that on your mat. This one's going to be white, so I'll make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that just helps whenever you're laying down your vinyl to cut different colors at the same time. So once I get that all laid down, I'll go to Cut, Vinyl, and I'll use Ratchet Blade 4, Speed 7, Thickness 7. Once again, these are my settings that work for me. Always do a test cut because every machine is different. So now that I've cut these ones, I'm just going to move them out of the way. And then I'll put my black layer on. And I will make sure it still says Cut, Vinyl, and I'll just turn this down to about 2. And then I will send that to Silhouette. So now I have all of my layers cut, and I'm going to go ahead and weed them. You have to be careful with the squares that you make sure they stay on there. Sometimes they like to pull up. So now we're ready to start layering. I'm going to go ahead and trim down this transfer tape some. Okay, so I've got the transfer tape on the black layer. And I just peel it away from the backing, and then you can just put the backing back on right underneath your registration marks. And now I'm going to trim the white layer right above the registration marks just to make it easier to layer. And this is the part that you have to be really slow and careful. You want to make sure that this black registration mark lines up exactly with that white registration mark. And then make sure that they do it evenly again on the other side. All right, so now we've got the registration marks are lined up evenly. And we can peel the vinyl away from the backing. And then just smooth it down over the white. So now your white and your black are together. When you peel up your transfer tape again, you want to make sure that you go really slow, because if you don't, you'll get air bubbles in your vinyl. And you want to make sure that your registration marks stay down. So now I peeled up the transfer paper and I've got that black layer attached to the white layer. You'll kind of want to go over it and maybe try to get some air bubbles out. This transfer tape is stickier than what I'm used to, so it's a little bit trickier. But then we'll just move on to the next layer. And once again, I'll just put the backing back on right below the registration marks. And then very carefully make sure that they're in line with one another. And smooth it down. And then make sure your registration marks stay down again. Right. Then we'll go on to the red. Put the backing back on below the registration marks. Make sure they are in line. Okay, so now we have the white layer, the black layer, the red stripe, and the blue stripe all attached. And now we're going to attach all of this to the blue bottom layer. So you'll just slowly peel up your backing, place it back down right below the registration marks. And then, once again, make sure your registration marks are in line. And then peel off the backing. Oops. And smooth that out over your bottom layer. I usually use contact paper for decals. I don't know what everybody else uses, but it seems to be the best thing that works for me. This is really good transfer paper for signs, but it seems to make it a little bit more tricky when peeling up from the decal. But anyways, there's a layered vinyl decal.